Hi everyone, it's me, Lubna. Today is Thursday, November 21st, 2024. This video is dedicated to my beloved, and the topic of this video is going to be about how we arrive at a genuine religion in our lives. So in relation to that topic, I wanted to go back to a book that I read earlier this fall, which was The Road Less Traveled, A New Psychology of Love, Traditional Values, and Spiritual Growth by the psychiatrist M. Scott Peck, MD. And I've already shared several videos related to passages from this book, but this morning there was a specific topic that came to my mind, which is the topic of this video, and it brought to mind another specific passage from this book, which I wanted to share with you today. And this passage comes from the part of the book that is titled Worldviews and Religion, under the section heading The Baby and the Bathwater. So I'll show the passage to you first, in case you'd like to read it for yourself. It's on that page, and I've enclosed it in brackets. And I'll read that aloud to you now. Here it goes. I have firmly stated that it is essential to our spiritual growth for us to become scientists who are skeptical of what we have been taught, that is, the common notions and assumptions of our culture. But the notions of science themselves often become cultural idols, and it is necessary that we become skeptical of these as well. It is indeed possible for us to mature out of a belief in God. What I would now like to suggest is that it is also possible to mature into a belief in God. A skeptical atheism or agnosticism is not necessarily the highest state of understanding at which human beings can arrive. To the contrary, there is reason to believe that behind spurious notions and false concepts of God, there lies a reality that is God. This is what Paul Tillich meant when he referred to the God beyond God, and why some sophisticated Christians used to proclaim joyfully, God is dead, long live God. Is it possible that the path of spiritual growth leads first out of superstition into agnosticism and then out of agnosticism toward an accurate knowledge of God? It was of this path that the Sufi Abba Said ibn Abi al-Khair was speaking more than 900 years ago when he said, "Until college and minaret have crumbled, this holy work of ours will not be done. Until faith becomes rejection, and rejection becomes belief, there will be no true Muslim." So that is the passage that I wanted to share with you today from this book. And in that section of the book, Dr. Peck explains how everyone has a religion, whether or not they know it. And he doesn't mean religion just in the traditional sense, but he means religion in regards to the set of beliefs that a person is taught when they are very young. And this doesn't just relate to what they learn in church or what they learn in school, but also what their parents model for them through their behaviors. And as we grow a little older, we start to realize that perhaps the things that we are taught from our parents or from even traditional religion aren't necessarily the best way to go about living our lives. And often when we face a life crisis or some major event, it might instigate a skepticism within us. And this is what happened to me. As I've mentioned in a previous video, I was born into a Muslim family. And when I was a teenager, I faced a major life event, which was that my parents got divorced when I was 16 years old. And at that time, I started to question everything that I was taught earlier in my life. I entered a period of skepticism about everything, including religion. And from that moment onward throughout my life, I have been trying to figure out what religion really is and what spirituality really is. And I've learned that those two things are separate. A person can partake in organized religion, yet have no depth of spiritual life within them. They might not really have a relationship with God or divinity or whatever you'd like to call it. Similarly, a person can have a very strong faith in God and this higher power, yet not label themselves as belonging to any particular religion. So in that section of the book, Dr. Peck explains how there's 3 different stages in the spiritual progression of a person. The first stage is unquestioning and rigid obedience to whatever set of beliefs that person was born into, followed by a period of skepticism, which is the second stage, in which a person starts to question everything that he or she has been taught and the validity of all these teachings. And typically, as I've mentioned earlier in this video, the second stage is instigated by some major life event that causes us to question everything we've been taught as true prior to that event. And in this second stage, he talks about how often there are psychiatric illnesses that abound, such as depression, anxiety, and addictions. And after that second stage has been overcome, a person enters a period of spiritual awakening. And this period doesn't really have an end, it's just kind of continuous. A person is always learning more and more and growing more and more spiritually. But in this third stage, a person arrives at genuine religion or genuine spirituality because he or she has gone through the difficult part, which is the skepticism. And he or she has questioned everything that he or she has learned prior to that. And by questioning everything, the person has arrived at a true understanding of what is really right for him or her, what is his or her truth, what is his or her relationship with God or divinity or this higher power. So I wanted to use this message to encourage you to look at your life and reassure you if you've faced periods of skepticism like that. Skepticism over all of the things that you were taught when you were younger, whether that has to explicitly do with religion or not. It might just have to do with the general set of beliefs that you were taught by your parents or at school or from your peers. If you've faced such a period of skepticism and you've hurt because of that, like you've faced depression and anxiety and guilt because of that, rest assured that this means you're on the right track. You're on the right path toward spiritual progression, toward a higher state of being, toward genuine religion. And you're much better off than somebody who just agrees with whatever they're told and who just follows the rules without questioning them. Think about that. I really hope that this video provided you with some valuable food for thought. As always, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to listen and or watch my video today. And I'd like to wish you a wonderful day, afternoon, evening, or whatever it is, wherever you are in the world.